What we're really talking about today is how to make the customer experience that you provide your competitive advantage. Nothing I talked today was about hey, what is Full Steam's marketing process? What's the collateral, material, pricing, etc. It's about what every one of you can do to provide a better experience for your customers. When you think of it like that, I encourage you to rethink who your competition really is. Now, I understand a lot of you are filming these videos, competitive videos. I want you to have this idea in mind when you start filming those. This is a great, love that you're doing that. You think my Detroit Lions are doing game tape right now? Okay, how great is it that you're building game tape for yourself to get better? So think about this. We often think of our competition as the companies that we're selling against. When we think about their products, their size, their brand, their marketing campaigns, whatever it might be, and it kind of makes us hold back. I don't think that's who your competitors are. I think your competitors are people like Chris, okay? Chris works for that competitor that we're talking about. But Chris listens to all those voices in his head. He holds back. He doesn't carry himself with confidence. He doesn't prepare for his meeting so he can communicate crisply, succinctly, and with confidence. And it limits his customer's ability to trust him and make a decision. You can be better than Chris or Julie. Customers love Julie. Great personality, always prompt, follows up consistently. She's really good at these fundamentals. But Julie, she cannot get to that third layer. She doesn't learn the industry inside and out. She doesn't bring true expertise to her customer and make them think differently about something because she's too afraid of challenging the customer, thinking that it might make them upset. You can be better than Julie. Or Mark. Mark's been in this business for a long time. He actually founded the competitor that you're selling against. He knows his stuff way more than I do. But because Mark feels so sure about himself, he doesn't want to waste his time coming up with options. He doesn't let his customer feel in control because he just tries to plow through the process. You can provide a better experience than Mark. Or Shahid. He's great. Customers like him. He leads them through decisions. All this is good. And if you get him in front of someone, like, I'm going to struggle with them. The problem is, he is horrible at managing his time. He spends his time with the wrong people. He doesn't manage his clock well. He gets tired at the end of the day. All of you can provide a better experience than Shahid. I've read hundreds of books: sales, psychology, persuasion, influence, leadership. Been through all sorts of sales techniques. I've tried it all. And there's plenty of things you can learn from all this. I'm not dismissing it all. It's all helpful. But I'm here to tell you there's something far more fundamental that customers want, and they're craving it now, today, more than ever before. What they simply want is our help to make good decisions. And we operate as experts to help them do that. I mentioned it before. Let's not think of sales as something we do to somebody, and more as an act of service where we help people make good, sound decisions for themselves, even if they haven't thought of it yet. So when you go back out there, think about this. Carry yourself with more confidence. Build deeper connections with your customers. Lead them to decisions with more clarity for themselves, and take more command of the impact that you can make on yourselves and the world. It's truly that simple. Thank you very much. But what I learned in that experience, and I surprisingly saw over and over and over again throughout my career in sales, is that people have these different layers of connections that they make with people. At the first layer, it's kind of like that person who says, "Can I help you?" This first layer is kind of like the person at a cocktail party when you're talking to them and they're just like looking around the room, looking for someone else. They're not actually engaged in the conversation. I simply call this the first layer connection. Someone who's at the meeting, physically they're in the room, but they're not really paying attention. Just an order taker. If someone's got an order, like, I want to buy, here's what I want, like, they can handle the process of that order very quickly. I don't think anybody in this room operates at this first layer. But we have our days. We have our moments. And we can't live in here. We got to catch ourselves sometimes when we're here because it's not what customers want. So let's go to the second layer. The second layer, this is where the majority, and I'm simplifying, breaking these three things, what I've seen. The second layer, this is where the majority of salespeople live. Say the right things, good listener, ask questions, uncover what the customer needs, and they can win when there's an opportunity. When an opportunity comes their way, we can explain what our service is, why we're better than the competition, we can walk through the pricing. You can make a great career living at the second layer. But then there's the third layer, which is about true connection. And some of you probably experienced this with some customers, but not others. And this connection makes a difference. See, the third layer, this is where you start uncovering the customer's goals. You understand their fears of how they run their business, things that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. You probably know what a lot of those are to get those comments out of them. You're a true expert in your industry. You actually teach the customer what's going on in their world, in their industry, in your world of payments. You can teach them, advise them. Some of you have been through challenger sale training, as some of the similar concepts we talk about. How do I challenge the customer, just get them thinking differently about their business? When you operate at this third layer, these are the kind of people who create opportunities. Okay, it's not just customers come to them with something. They create other ways to help that customer because they never thought of it like that before. We're operating as an expert.
So somebody walked in, the subject of the study walks into a doctor's office. They check in for their appointment, and they go sit down. They're the only person in the waiting room. Okay, so they're just by themselves. Well, a few minutes later, a little bit of smoke comes into the room. They want to see, will the person speak up? Not a lot, just enough to clearly be noticeable. Person looks around, sees the smoke. 75% of the time, somebody speaks up, which is kind of strange in a way. You wonder, like, well, what the other 25% do? Just go running out of the building? I don't know. But 75% of the time, somebody spoke up. Here's where it gets interesting. Next scenario, they put one more person in the room. Now, that one more person is actually part of the study, and they're specifically instructed not to speak up. So now, a little bit of fire, a little bit of smoke comes in the room, and the person looks over, they see the smoke, then they look over and like, why is that person not reacting? And they start holding back. So in this case, a little bit of social pressure, only 38% of the time does someone speak up. That's almost in half. You add another person in the room, so now there's 3, and it plummets to 10%. This is in a building that might be on fire, and you're just sitting with a bunch of strangers. So the point is that we all hold back. This is a very natural human tendency. It's not something just about you. We have a tendency to not speak up when we know that we should, not ask a question. And it's about us. It's not about them.